It's it is so great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. I mean, it's great to be here.
Absolutely, it is. So let's begin our journey into your work by asking you this. 5 years ago, we were dealing with this pandemic. It was changing our lives. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you do things today?
So on March 12th, oh, let me back up to 2019. 2019 was banner year for us.
Yeah.
Literally went around the world speaking. And on New Year's Eve of 2019, we were in Colorado at Keystone skiing. And I went up on the mountain one last time by myself. The sun is setting, it's beautiful. I am just celebrating 2019. So I'm by myself. I have somebody take my picture. So I have a picture of me at the top of the mountain, gorgeous sunset, thinking about 2020 and thinking, what could possibly go wrong? 2020, our calendar was booked with speaking engagements and workshops, and March 12th was a Thursday, and I'm sitting at my computer, and that's when the cancellation started rolling in. And it was like I had a lot of free time
Yeah.
overnight, like instantly within that 30, 45 minutes. I had a lot of free time. And I remember going to that dark place of, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I admit I stayed there for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But then I thought, what could we be doing for our clients right now that we wouldn't have the opportunity to do otherwise? And I quickly got a piece of paper, started sketching it out. We put together a 6-part webinar series called Stay Calm and Lead On. And we called all of our clients and said, we want to do this for you for free.
S-
And then in the end, you know, in the end, like that moment of being able to reframe as quickly as we did, and it allowed us to not only come out of it, but to come out of it way ahead and to be able to serve our clients and build partnerships and relationships and trust. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to do.
I've heard about so many silver linings. You just sparked a memory in me. I remember that New Year's, everybody was being all cute about Barbara Walters saying, "This is 2020," you know, and we're
Yeah.
all like, "Oh, yay, it's fun, and we're
Best
going
year
into a
ever.
yeah, right, going into a new year. This is great." And then all of a sudden, the wall came down. Now, I will tell you, I got a more specific thing because I'm in Kansas City, and we won that championship that year. My dad passed in '08, and we used to watch the Chiefs all the time, and he would just agonize. Always a field goal miss, never the right quarterback. They finally win it. And I remember he told me years ago, he said, if these bums, he used to call them the Kansas City Griefs. He said, if these bums finally win the Super Bowl, I guarantee you the world's going to shut down. And after that parade,
Wow.
so there you go. So there's the journal from 2020 for you right there.
But don't you find it, Joe, like the irony in it being 2020 and clear vision
Yep,
and what did it bring to us? Like how much clarity it did bring in some ways of
yep,
what's important. How can you pivot? Like we learned so much out of that.
yep.
And so, I'm a brain nerd and I will say there are 3 characteristics of negative threat. And all 3 of those came together that year. And it was the perfect case study of how the human brain responds to those 3 characteristics are uncertainty or confusion will send us reeling. Okay. Nothing will shut us down faster than a little bit of uncertainty.
Yeah.
When you don't feel like you have a lot of choice or control, so we didn't, we lost that. And then the third is when you anticipate a negative outcome. And all 3 of those came together. And I look at that year, and if I were to think about that year in pictures, we began the year with people fighting over toilet paper, Then we moved to racial tensions and riots, like and protests that we hadn't seen. in years. And then finally, by the end of that year, we're getting ready to storm the Capitol. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just such an interesting case study that we should all really look into and get clear on what did that teach us.
that's
And
brilliant. What you just said there, I hadn't thought about it in that sequence, but I just knew that when you cage up a bunch of humans and you just throw the same divisive garbage on TV all the time, all
yeah,
you're doing is filling the subconscious and conscious with all of these things that are one way or another going to fester, and it's gonna get bad, you know.
yeah,
Uh,
it can get real weird real fast.
yeah, for sure. So let's get into the brain nerd stuff here. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds. It's career day, and the kid in the back of the room wants to know what you do for a living. How do you answer that child?
Well, I help people to live their lives in a way that the brain works best. And so, just by helping them understand a few things about how your brain works, you can have a better life. You can be a better leader. You can create possibilities that before seemed impossible. And it's not only working with the amazing potential of the brain, but also honoring the limitations of the brain. And I think sometimes that's where we miss it because the brain's amazing and it's marvelous and we've learned so much and we have still have so much more to learn. But one of the things is recognizing there are limits and we need to work with those limits as well as with the possibilities of this amazing piece of equipment.
Absolutely. So I'm curious, when I look at the landscape of coaching and leadership and helping people get to the next step, there's all these advents, these waves of things, and I'm hearing so much more about the brain and neuroscience. How did this vocation make sense to you? How did you evolve to say this is what I'm going to focus on?
Well, I wanted to be a college English teacher until I became a college English teacher. And uh, I started working at a manufacturing facility to help create a workplace education program. This is important. We're in the early to mid 90s. Little did I know there was going to be an explosion of information, and I kind of got a front row seat.
Yeah.
But I was working with manufacturing employees who struggled to learn. And all I wanted to do was unscrew the lid and look into their brain and figure out how does the brain learn? Because if I knew this information, I could help them so much faster. And that was a long time ago. And I'm as fascinated today. It changed my major, it changed the complete trajectory of my life of just trying to figure out how does the brain learn. Because if we know this, that unlocks the secret to behavior change, to motivation, to addiction, to just, education, so many possibilities. So that's how I got into it. And once I started studying how the brain learns and learning more and more, I realized how practical this information was. Every single person needs to know how their equipment works because it's driving every decision we make. It's driving the results and the outcomes of our lives. And it not only impacts us, it impacts generations of people. And I mean, we have those people in our family where if they made good decisions, we're reaping the benefits today. And if they struggled or they, were impaired in some way in making decisions, we're all suffering the consequences of it today.
Yeah.
And most people know more about how their iPhones work than how their brains work. And yet that's the equipment we should be studying. That's the technology companies should be investing in. And if your company is investing millions and millions of dollars in technology that needs constant upgrades, and they're not investing in the technology, the human brain that's actually going to run that, we need to raise the flag. That doesn't even make sense when you say it out loud, and yet we're doing it every single day.
And it seems like the further we go as human beings into this technologically enabled like world of ours, people don't just rely on the whole 90-day principle of making a habit, which is a thing that you teach your brain. It teaches your whole thing. We have, if you want to quit smoking, you got to do gums and this and hypnosis. And you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
anything you want to do, you want to lose weight, you got to, which now that these shots and all this stuff going on is really weird. Like there's all of these things that just abate the fact that we have brains and we can use it, we can train it. It's hard. Train, like getting to the top of the mountain you talked about is really hard. Running a marathon is hard. Doing all of these things, but we wouldn't savor it or feel like it did anything good in our evolutionary journey as humans if we had all of these little things that just kind of get in the way. We just have to harness our brain and teach it. And I've always thought that 90-day thing is so essential for anything that you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. But you think about it, you can start a bad habit in 90 seconds.
Yeah, you certainly
Right.
can. Uh-huh.
And because really that when you think about it, real sustainable change happens at the belief level. We
Hmm.
have to shift beliefs. And if there's no lack of actions, I mean, if you want to lose those that weight or you want to quit smoking or whatever it is, you can Google that right now and you'll get 50 jillion, I don't know, a
Yeah,
lot of actions.
yeah,
Our problem is not the lack of actions. What has to shift is our fundamental belief.
hmm,
And your brain is going to resist that because it loves the familiar. And your beliefs feel true and they feel familiar. And a lot of the beliefs that we have were not even ours in the first place. They were picked up by family or friends or, you know, and it just becomes so much a part of us. It really kind of is like the fish in the water. We just can't even see the beliefs that are creating the results that we have. Real sustainable change has to happen at the belief level. And I
yep.
think that's why, we can give lots of actions. But if we really want those actions to stick, we got to challenge our beliefs. What belief is driving that action? And whether that is we're working on ourselves, we need to ask that question. If you're in a leadership role and you're trying to get your team to change, we got to ask a deeper question.
Yeah.
What are the beliefs that are sustaining or driving that action? Because that action makes sense to them somehow.
So take me to your beginnings. Are you from Dallas originally?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a
So
Texan through and through. I'm pretty sure I had family members welcome Cortez. We've
yeah,
been here a long time.
there you go. So what did you want to be when you were in that position of career day? Was it always to be a teacher to get into education?
Oh gosh, I've always loved interacting with people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very passionate about that. And so I think when I was young, I told my mother I was going to be a school teacher. And so it just made sense that I would go teach. And but little did I know that I would be doing what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was in that manufacturing environment. I was I changed my direction of my studies. I was working on my PhD in English, and I remember asking one of my professors for a recommendation because I wanted to go into cognitive learning. I wanted to know how the brain learns. And he wouldn't give me the recommendation. He said, you're going to limit your possibilities and your choices of what you can do with your career. And he wouldn't give me the recommendation.
Wow.
Um, and then, I just knew that leaders needed to know this information. And, today that field is big. I mean, there's a lot of people in the field that I'm in today.
Yeah.
And I think that's real encouraging for anybody to think about what is it that you really, really love and you're passionate about, then go make your way, go carve out
Hmm.
because there is a need for that.
Yeah.
And don't get caught up in, again, it's beliefs, right? We got to challenge those beliefs. And even though something feels true, doesn't make it so necessarily. I'll sometimes tell the leaders I work with, like, your beliefs are sometimes like the clothes in your closet. they don't fit anymore.
Yeah.
Or maybe it used to be your style. Maybe it used to look good on you, but you look at it today and think, I would never wear this
Yeah.
out. Sometimes we just need a closet clean out of our beliefs and then decide what do we want to bring back in.
So who's been your hero? Who's been your inspirational force in your life?
Professionally, Dr. Daniel Amen is one that made a big difference in my life. And the reason why is because he's one of they have Amen clinics now all over the United States. But when I heard him speak in the early 2000s, he was the only person in the mental health field that was actually looking at the brain. And I mean, even today, he's one of the rare people that one rare approach of actually looking at the organ that you're treating. We still have people going in with mental or brain health challenges, being handed a prescription and saying, come back in 6 weeks and let's see how you're doing. It's just insane. That would be malpractice in any other branch of medicine where you're not actually looking at the organ you're treating. Definitely, he's one. Eric Jensen, professionally, is one because he coined the term brain-based learning. And, and just taking a look at what if we aligned our, educational models with how the brain works. Novel idea, still not happening
Yeah.
in so many places. In fact, so much of what we're doing is actually brain antagonistic rather than brain friendly.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. What is it that gets you up every day to do this work? To not only take care of your clients and make a change, but to take care of your own soul?
I think it's just an inner drive to be the best version of myself. I write in my journal every single day, God help me to accomplish all that you have planned for me. And that's a drive internally. But the other drive is that I know the information that I have can change lives. It can change workplaces. It can change how people lead. And I get really passionate about that because 90,000 or more of our hours of our one and only life is going to be spent at work.
Hmm.
Leaders have a sacred responsibility to be the best version of themselves and to bring out the best version in those people that are investing their lives in those jobs. And I'm on a mission to create a world of leaders worth following. And essentially be a good human, be a good leader. You may need to, I think leaders need to take, and teachers need to take the part of the Hippocratic Oath that says, I may not help you, but I'm not going to harm you. I'm not
Yeah.
going to humiliate you. I'm not going to put you in a position where you're set up to fail.
Yeah.
No one deserves that. And as a world, we don't deserve that because as a world, we deserve to bring out the best in every single person around us. What is human potential really capable of?
Yeah.
I think that's the most unexplored territory, not going to the Titanic or going to Mars, but really digging into what's the human potential in
Yeah.
each person.
So of everything that you've done and more importantly evolved to at this point in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Not quitting.
Yeah.
Whenever you go off on your own and you're trying to carve something out and you're trying to do something new, not only do you have your own internal gremlins to deal with, but sometimes the answers are no, and sometimes it's no repeatedly. But the key is don't quit. And I mean, in this very room where I'm sitting right now, there had been more than one time I was on the floor, in tears or frustrated or thinking it would just be easier. Like you mentioned, this is hard,
Yep.
but you get to choose your hard.
Hmm.
It's hard either way. And I think that's the most important thing is in those darkest of times where it seemed kind of hopeless. I didn't quit. Just don't quit.
That's it. I get it. I totally
Just
get it.
don't quit.
Keep going. So, of all of the leaders that have been on this planet, that have inspired all of us, who is your favorite leader?
I'd have to give that some thought.
Okay, you're fine. You're fine.
I
So,
would say, there's I don't know if there's one, but
right.
if I could bring a council together,
Sure.
they would have some common characteristics.
Yeah.
And one is that there weren't a win at all cost. It was I win. So I would pick a John Wooden character for sure. I mean, he just had so many characteristics of when he was praised for all of his wins, he always deflected back to the team,
Yep.
saying, I didn't do those wins, the team did.
Hmm.
I think it would be somebody who's not afraid of walking into the unknown and the uncertain. A little bit of confusion can shut most people down. And so for those people who didn't accept that, who felt the resistance and the scary and the fear of uncertainty, but moved forward anyway. People come to mind in all areas of life, from Nelson Mandela to Oprah to,
Yeah.
you know, some of the people that who could overcome the uncertainty.
Hmm.
And then I think it's the last thing, the last characteristic is to have a passion and a fire so hot and so deep within you that you can't not pursue it.
Yeah.
Even if it's unpopular, even if it's hard,
Yep.
even if it's inconvenient, and even if it's expensive.
So let's get to the essence of you. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone you work with, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Um, real, real, and an eternal learner. I think, there are people that are the know-it-alls and there are those that are learn-it-alls. And I think I will be forever the eternal learner and student. I love learning.
So if anyone wants to reach out to the Ellen Group, they have questions, they want to hire you, they want to learn more, they need more of your book, how do they do that?
You can go to yellingroup.com, or my book, which by the way hit Amazon bestseller list about a week ago,
Cool.
is The Science of High Performance Leadership: 7 Brain-Based Strategies to Become a Leader Worth Following.
Okay. I will put all of that in the show notes. This has been so great. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today, giving us a little portal into your world. Best of luck. I really appreciate it. It's been fascinating.
Thank you. Appreciate it too.
Thank you.